If it hurts, James breaks, no get you know it up, put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, do the game, tap, this win it. First year game, we're here for the first May. Carry my team never 6 minutes.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
99% of the people in this world want to be great. Would you agree with that? Yeah, they're called wannabes. 1% work to be great. Drop the mic on that.
A game like this, you kind of do as you're playing for another game, you know. But that's what this work gonna go into next season. So we make sure we playing at this time next year. You know, that's the goal. You know, to be playing at this time next year and going forward to another game. But you know, as soon as we finish this game, I told everybody it's just time to go to work. Everybody ready to go to work. Like it's time to drop off the grid and just show up in 2024 ready to dominate.
Doesn't have to be perfect, ain't gonna be perfect. We go compete for 60 freaking minutes. All right, enjoy the opportunity, enjoy the environment, and then go play our butts off, play for one another, and have a hell of a lot of fun. Everybody got me?
Yes,
all right.
And yeah, you know, other than that, I think just the fans. I love the fans, the culture here. And yeah, that's pretty much what I chose.
I'm gonna have to get him to start watching my film in the off season too.
Obviously, I watch Coach Hines' old clips. You know, it's kind of like black because they ain't got that. You ain't got
Black and white.
they ain't got the black and white film up,
man.
man.
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I can feel it in hands. I can feel it in each other. I can feel it. It's coming in the air tonight. That's how I know we fell in love. You remember that's how I could I ever forget? You remember that's how I know we fell in love. You remember that's how I could I ever forget? Coming in the air tonight.
Good Wednesday evening. Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. He's Coach Jay. We got a jam-packed show. We got a lot of stuff to get into, man. So much to talk about. I feel like I tried to cram, Coach, 48 hours of recruiting news and rumors into about 2 hours today. But we're going to jump into all of it. I'm excited to talk about it. We're going to be joined by a guy that jumped into the boat early. Tennessee running back commit Justin Baker is going to be jumping on with us here in just a second. You guys need to show him some love. His Twitter, his Instagram, all that's in the description of the video. Go give him a follow. Go support Justin Baker. We're going to drag him through the mud, Coach. That's what we do. Hey, full transparency. What did the text message I sent to you today say? What did it say?
You put me on the spot, man.
It said business as usual.
Business as usual.
We're dialed in.
865 live for you cap after. Yeah.
That's it.
Dialed
We're
in.
dialed in.
That's
We're
it.
dialed in. We know what we're going to do.
Did I miss something important?
No, we're gonna drag these kids through the mud. We're gonna have some fun with them. That's what we do here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. Do us a favor, guys. Smash the thumbs up, share out the link, let people know we're live, and then we're gonna get into the interview here in just a second. Let's see who the early arrivals were. Brad was here bright and early. Says GBO and Hypo we trust. That was at 5:00. He was hanging out at 5:00. Still hadn't dropped the door fee. Didn't give us a single penny. Just wants to be recognized. Shane Mountain is here. What's up, brother? It's always good to see you in the chat. Bob is here. Says good evening, Vol Nation and the Talkin VAWLS cult. Matt's here. Randy Payne is here. Tony Canada, Black Metal Banjo, Arkansas Vol is in the house. Guys, come on in, smash the thumbs up, share it out. Angry Titan drops a $5 super chat. The OG of the door fee. Let's go, Vol family. Shout out to Angry Titan. He is the OG of the door fee. He created that thing, but nobody does it anymore. They just sneak in and they hang out. Memphis Vol drops a $5 super chat. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. We appreciate it, brother. Shout out to Memphis Vol for the super chat. Let's get into it. Let's get Justin on here. Let's have some fun. Justin Baker, my friend, welcome to the show. Appreciate you jumping on with us, man.
Of course. Pleasure's all mine.
You didn't get nervous, did you? When we said we're going to drag you through the mud.
A little bit. I ain't gonna lie.
This ain't your VolQuest interview. This ain't your Go Vols 247. Once we asked Braylon Staley what he liked besides football, and he said his girlfriend, we didn't ask another football question the rest of the day. So get dialed in, get ready. We're gonna have a fun time. It's always a good time, man. Getting to know that. The point of this channel is getting to know you guys, and we'll talk some recruiting, and we'll talk about your trips and your visits and all that stuff. That's all fun and games too. But we like to get to know you. That's what this thing is all about. Nicholas drops a $5 super chat. Says door fee. Shout out Nicholas. We appreciate it. But I guess Justin, let's kind of start there because you're a guy. You jumped in early, right? Coming out of your sophomore year. Your recruitment, there's a lot of buzz around Georgia. There's a lot of buzz around Michigan. You visit Tennessee the summer of 2023. You also attend the Austin P game, but then you come in town for that South Carolina game. And I don't know if you realize how much us Tennessee fans want a little bit of redemption. We wanted a little revenge. We showed up. We showed out. Dark mode, hostile environment. You come out of that trip for the South Carolina game. About a week later, you make it official. What was it about Tennessee? What kind of changed your recruitment there and put the Vols out front?
That game, because as believe it or not, so at the time of that game, it was between South Carolina and Tennessee. So I wasn't really well, I was at the time, but I knew I wasn't going to go there either. I wasn't really considering Georgia or Michigan. At the time, it was between it was between Tennessee and South Carolina. And I knew in my head who the winner of this game would probably win me over. You know, if South Carolina pulled off the upset, it was going to be them. If it was Tennessee, I knew I was sticking with them. So it was really that, I'd already made my my pros and cons of both of the teams. With Tennessee, I know it was a great offense, a great head coach, stability with the head coach, and I just love the area. It was close to home, and the reason I'm here, great fans, great community.
What do you committed so early, right? I think you were the third commit at the time, which Shamar Arnoux has kind of moved on, going a different direction. But it's you and Dylan. Is it Dylan? Yeah, I should be prepared. Yeah, Dylan Lewis, right? Come on, what are we doing, Boogie? Let's act like you're a professional and you know what you're talking about. But you commit early. That's we see so many guys that want to. I'm not play the game. I don't want to say play the game, but they want to go through the process, right? We see so many summer officials. Some guys carry it all the way into the season. Do you ever feel like you're kind of missing out on some of that process, or did you just not have interest in that? It's like, I know Tennessee's a school. That's where I want to go. I don't care about the attention or the process.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, the summer OVs, they're fun and all, seeing all these different schools. But, the saying is so cliche, but it's true. When you know. And I feel like, at that time, I knew, and that still stands true today. Tennessee is home.
Absolutely. Man, I feel like I helped recruit you in a way because I was at that South Carolina game myself, sitting not too far from the recruits at all. So an awesome environment that night. And maybe give us just a little insight into what a game day is like, during the visit. Do you get much time with coach or with the team right then? Or you kind of kept separate from everyone? Walk us through a little bit what it's like during a big game week visit.
So, I mean, of course, you have the pregame. The coaches will be in and out. Some of the coaches will come and sit with you, because there's a little tunnel, and a little bit past the game day locker room is they have all the recruits. So the coaches, they'll be in and out the locker room, hanging out with the recruits and going to the lockers. You know, probably about an hour and 15 minutes before the game, they'll probably stop all that and just head out to the field with the players. But I mean, on the game day visit, me personally, I wasn't really looking for that much time with the coaches. It was really more so what did I see on the field and like that.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't really looking for too much forward to like hang with the coaches. I can do that another day or just, you know, FaceTime. You know, it's not that big. You know.
Awesome. And I got to dig a little deeper on that. So that specific night, the championship team was there from the late 90s. Did you get a chance to meet any of them? Do you know who any of them were? Because usually on this channel, we like to tell the fans that, you know, the younger generation doesn't really know that older generation, doesn't have that contact with them. You know, maybe you could talk about that a little bit if you had an opportunity to talk to any of those guys, or if it was just kind of seeing them from afar.
I just seen them from afar. I didn't really get a chance to meet any of them.
Who do you think of when you like? Because Coach Jay's right. We're old. We're old. Guess what? One day, Justin, you're gonna be old too, brother. Father Time's undefeated. You can't beat Father Time. But one day you'll be old. So but when you hear Tennessee football, and you know it doesn't have to be somebody on the current team. I'm gonna go ahead and guess who you're gonna say. But what's the first couple of names that come to mind?
You already know. I mean, other than Peyton Manning, I'll probably say Alvin Kamara.
I'm proud of you. You said Peyton first. I thought you were going to say Alvin first. Like that's typically the answer we get with guys around your age is it's Alvin Kamara. That's who they think of because he's in the league, he's active. Whereas Peyton, you know, he's retired and he's talking into a microphone every day. So I'm glad to hear you say Peyton. That little caught me by surprise there. You made a comment though talking about, you know, coaches, right? Like you're watching the on-field product, and I was listening to, gosh, I can't remember who it was that I was just listening to. An interview down at the On3 event. I think it was Travis Smith talking about how this is Josh Heupel's offense, and that gives him confidence that this offense isn't going to change. You can coaches come and go, but if Josh Heupel's the head coach, it's going to be his offense. You kind of went through that situation, right? Jerry Mack recruited you. February of 2024 rolls around. He's off to the NFL. You're sitting here going, I don't have a position coach. Enter Darrell Sims, who, you know, I was a big fan of Jerry Mack when he was here. I think Darrell Sims could be special. I'm not going to read off his track record. I'm sure he's talked to you about it, but the big number that stood out to me, top 25 rushing units the last 3 years at Louisville and Cincinnati. We'll come to Tennessee where Josh Heupel's going to use mismatch and numbers advantages and set your running backs up for success. Kind of walk through that transition. I don't have a position coach. Darrell Sims picks up the phone, gives you a phone call, and just kind of walk us through that.
Yeah. So actually the day that I found out, it was during that little period where, because of the last staff's little situation, they didn't have any contact. So for about a week straight, I didn't have a position coach, and it was, I don't want to say scary, but I'll say my parents were more scared than I was. I knew that Coach I was going to find a guy, and I knew what was going on. Kind of had an idea, so because they had like people outside the staff reach out and tell me this, so I kind of knew that. Like what was going on, I understood. So I was just sitting there patiently waiting. When they had found a new guy, I did my research, and I mean, I don't know, I couldn't do anything about it, but I knew that Sims was a good guy. You know, I knew that he could develop running backs, and he has proved it. You know, and I could tell just from the first time call with him, I knew he was about his business. I knew that he knows what he's doing. So I put my trust in Coach Sims. I put my trust in Coach Heupel. You know, we going from there.
I think you were his first phone call. I'm pretty sure I read that. I love that. Show love to the guys that are committed and have chose Tennessee. I like reading that. Let me catch up with the chat, and then I know Coach Jay's got a question he's going to fire off. Jeff becomes a member of the channel. Shout out, Jeff. We appreciate the support. You guys can hit that join button right over there beside subscribe. You can do that for $1. $1. That's all it takes to be a member of the channel. Custom Talkin VAWLS, emojis, access to fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun perks and benefits. Good old Nate Pruitt is here for 5. Says cover charge Boogie. Howdy, Coach Jay. Justin, God bless. And go Vols. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate the super chat. Memphis ball for 2. And I had this kind of penciled in too, Justin. He says, you expecting an even better senior season. Kind of talk about that. What are your goals going into your senior season of high school football?
Honestly, first goal, definitely have fun, you know, senior year. But, you know, I don't want to say this in like a selfish way, trying to be a butt or nothing, but take what's mine, you know. I feel like I've been waiting, you know, been on the show for a while. Sophomore year, I was behind Justice Haynes. This past year, we didn't really run the ball too much. So I feel like this year, when we get back to that run game, I'm starting back. So I'm trying to go crazy, trying to get at least 1,200. So let's do it.
There you go. And just piggybacking on that thought, I totally agree with you. And the question I was going to ask that I feel like fits right in is, what I want to know is, do you ever hear any negative recruiting? Is a running back interested in Tennessee? Like, oh, Tennessee throws the ball around. It's not really a running back centric offense. Do you get any of that negative recruiting? And then what was your opinion on Tennessee coming in their offense and how you felt being a running back coming in a Heupel's offense?
I can't say that I've had any negative recruiting because, I mean, anybody that has really watched Tennessee football, they know that it's not a passing offense. It's not just straight airing the ball out. And now when I first my first initial thoughts on Tennessee was that they were a passing offense, but that was the year when they had Hendon Hooker, who was going crazy. That was the year they had Jalen Hyatt, who was also going crazy. So I mean, that was just a stigma. But if you really look at the numbers that year, I think it was like 51% run and 49% pass or something like that.
Yep.
The OC, I think it was like my second visit, he kind of broke it down to me. He had a whole slideshow for it. It was pretty much breaking down, pretty much taking off all the rumors about Tennessee being a pass first offense. It's real balance, and that's a good thing.
Awesome.
You were just in town this past weekend, 865 Live. Let me see. Let me go find it here. Boom, there it is. Hanging out with Coach Sims. I like the shirts. I like Team Sims. I like it. Play on the game, the Sims. But it's hard to beat Coach Inge. The Avengers was a tough team to beat. How'd your team do? How'd the visit go? What's it like? Everything that I saw, that it was a laid back time, not a lot of football, a lot of family. How was your trip up this weekend? And you can kind of piggyback that into, you're the recruiter now. You're not being recruited. You are recruiting. Any relationships or who you working on? Kind of just unpack the weekend for us.
I mean, as you can see in the photo, I'm trying to work on Shakai and I'm trying to work on David. Those are the two that I'm really trying to get. David, of course, the O-lineman, big time guy, great O-lineman. Known about him for a while. Shakai, and I say this because I know a lot of people they might not want another guy who plays their position in the class, but me just growing up how I grew up, I've always had competition at my position. Even at Buford, I'm sharing the right in the backfield. Sharing the backfield 3, 4, 5 other guys, I'm used to that. And I feel like competition only breeds diamonds, Pressure builds diamonds. And I feel like if I can compete with somebody else, that'll just make me better. That'll make both of us better. Because let's say he does 50 push-ups. I'm striving to go 65, I'm trying to do that much better than him. And I hope that he's trying to do that much better than me. And that just makes both of us better, But I feel like that whole visit just kind of reinforced the family piece of Tennessee. And that's a big thing. I feel like that's one thing that they stress. They're going to work hard. They're going to push you. And that's a part of football. But the difference between Tennessee and maybe and I don't want to name any name, but any other school, it's the family piece. It's a real big, it's a family. And as long as everybody contributes, it's a family, and I love that about it.
Can you what separates Tennessee? Because family, culture, environment, it's all buzzwords, right? That us as fans, when you guys are taking these visits, you're taking these trips, you're doing all these interviews with all the media, and it's those are the buzzwords that come out. What makes Tennessee different? We had Anthony Agamoro on last week, and his mom shared some stories that I feel like need to be shared, and people need to see the authenticity of this coaching staff. So is there anything that stands out to you that makes it more genuine, more authentic versus just your standard recruiting pitch?
The care. I mean, I could name 100,000 stories about how they've shown immense care and how we've shown care back. I don't want to put too much business out there, but there's been deaths in both families, and we've shown love to the one who lost, and they have shown love to the ones that, not a death in my family, but in extreme sickness. And they've shown love directly to that person. My granddad, he was sick in the hospital, and I mean, Coach Hypo, he was calling my granddad, not even calling my dad. He was calling my granddad, checking up on him. You know, that was really important. You know, it's really family centered, and I love that.
Man, yeah, no, that's awesome, man. That's always good to hear when coaches out there doing it right. I'll switch back to football real quick. So I do got a question. Last week I had a breakdown spurned on me by Coach Rice not showing up or showing up late. So I got a crash course in your film live. But my question is, in running back films, we never seen any pass blocking in it. So my question is, if I can dig in, Justin, how do you feel in pass pro? Do you feel like you're an adequate pass blocker as a running back, or you feel like it's something you're gonna have to work on in the college game?
Honestly, I feel like that's one of my strengths. I mean, you guys have
I like to hear.
Yeah, you guys have the highlights, but if you really look at the game film, I mean, you can ask any of the coaches that have seen like the game film, not just the highlights. Like pass pro is something that I really take pride in. You know, that ensures that you're an every down back, not just coming off after 2 downs, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the last is just a favor that I'll ask before we might get into some funner questions. I don't know how many Boogie has, but usually sometime early in the year, I know this year it's a little late, we'll play Florida. And when you get that wide open field and you just got a safety to beat, I know that end zone seems tempting, but do me a favor, do Vol Nation a favor, just run that safety over for Florida. Just put your head down and bull right over them. Thank you, sir.
Choose violence.
Choose violence, please. All right.
Shady Hayward's choosing violence. Can we encourage everybody else to choose violence?
I'm trying.
Let me hit this super chat. Coach Rice, who's going to be jumping on here in just a second, talking some 865 live recruiting, talking about the On3 event as well. Says, hype. Justin Baker is a Vol. Love the film, the physicality, the balance, the explosiveness. My guy got all 3 ready for him to be in orange and white. Hashtag VFL. I know we tagged you in that, Justin. And it was like, you got, I don't typically tag recruits. I was like, I'm going to tag them. And I tag you, and then you come in, and it was the worst show in the history of the channel. It was an absolute disaster. We had internet problems. Coach Jay didn't even know what was going on. We're like, well, okay, you're going to go break down the film behind the scenes. It was a disaster.
And I broke down the wrong film.
But
I went to the sophomore tape.
Coach Rice chose you because he liked your game, man. So that's what that super chat's all about. He spent a lot of time breaking down film, and you were the guy that he chose to ride with. So that's what Coach Rice is talking about. Nicholas, for 2, what's your favorite Vol uniform?
Probably either all orange or all black.
There you go.
Is it
dark mode?
Is it sacrilegious if I say dark mode and then smoky gray and then orange and white?
Probably maybe a little. Someone might come for you.
I'm such a uniform junkie. And I know we're old, but the guys that are older, like they come in and they yell and they scream. I'm like, man, sign me up for dark mode, then sign me up for smoky gray. And let's get some of that Nico, right? Let's go some dark mode tops with some orange breeches. That's a good look that I like. He's repped it a lot, man, in his recruiting visits. I would love to see that as an alternate. Dylan says, let's get weird. What's the worst dad joke you got? Do you think he's got dad jokes?
He's not to that age yet, Dylan. He's not to that age yet.
Hey. Yeah, look at Nelson. Boogie, we know you don't like orange, bro. I'm repping the brand right now. What are you talking about? I've never seen so many people be concerned with a grown man's wardrobe. Justin doesn't have orange on. Y'all gonna yell at him like you yell at me all the time? No, you're not. You're gonna show this young man some respect. Adam Huckabee, been a member of this channel for 18 months, says, any favorite Vol traditions?
Probably the song. Yeah, I love the song.
I hope we hear it a lot. In 2024.
I play it myself. I ain't gonna lie.
All right, let's move into the hard-hitting questions. Let's talk some fun. Let's talk about some life. Man, I said we were going to talk recruiting. We talked recruiting and football for 25 minutes, Coach. We're
all right. We'll go rapid fire.
We're just like everybody else. Life away from football. What are you into? Video games, movies, TV shows? I told you what we did to Braylon Staley, so be careful. Be careful. Is your girlfriend sitting beside you over there listening to this interview?
Nah, she's not. But video games, I don't really watch a whole lot of TV. I watch a lot of YouTube though. A whole lot of YouTube videos about it'll either be It's usually like science, math, or history type stuff. Just learning about different, this miscellaneous stuff.
Oh, okay. That's a good. That.
Girlfriend's not watching, but Auntie is.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah,
I was-
yeah.
Go ahead, Coach. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask my question. So if you had a comment, you can make it.
I was just going to like talking about YouTube. It's weird, man, because I don't really watch a whole lot of TV anymore. It's like YouTube is the place to go. Like you can watch anything, like you said.
Yeah.
History, science, math. It's like I've never been on a hunt in my life. All of a sudden, I'm watching hunting videos, and I don't even know why. It's because it's like it's interesting. And I'm not even about shooting the animal as much as I am learning about the animal, their environment, why they're doing what they do, and that it's so interesting, man. And then obviously, it's given me the opportunity to jump on here and talk about my favorite thing on planet Earth outside of my God, family, Tennessee football. That's it. Food might be up there. But anyway, go ahead, Coach Jay.
All right. So Coach Jay gives you a time machine. What year are you traveling to? Where are you going? You going to like World War II times, Old West? Where are you going? Where are you going with that time machine?
Anytime. Doesn't have to be just human history.
It doesn't have to. It can be anywhere. You can go forward. You want to go in the future? You can go in the future. I'll give you the future.
Oh no, I go to the beginning of everything.
Oh wow.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
And what do you think happened at the beginning?
What did you say?
Get into a theological talk.
Yeah. What happened at the beginning?
Got to go to the time machine to find out.
There you go. You got.
I like it. Well, let's we're gonna get weird. Let's get weird. Aliens.
Go.
Do they exist?
Yeah, that's not even a question. That's not
100%. Like not even a doubt. Like what type of alien?
There
like
isn't a doubt. There is not a doubt.
Like a little tiny green man walking around in a UFO, or like
travel to
tiny
Egypt,
little
the
particle.
pyramids.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I could go a whole 20 minutes talking about this, but
there we go. Let's go.
I mean,
get out the tinfoil hats and let's go.
What'd you say?
Get out the tinfoil hats and
let's go.
Honestly, I'd rather it be a microscopic speck, because if it's like some crazy alien civilization, that means that we have like a big obstacle to get past. And I'd rather us be past the obstacle than in front of the obstacle.
Have you seen the videos from Russia and AI and technology and robots? And have you never seen Terminator 2? Like, what are they doing? Like, just sit down and watch an Arnold movie. But no, it's funny, all the stuff that happened in those movies, but let's see if we can create robots that shoot people. That'll be fun.
AI is going to be some serious. It could be either the best thing or the worst thing for humans.
I think we're going to need John Connor to come save us all. Only the old people will get that reference. Go ahead, Coach. Fire one off.
I got to ask it every week. You got a pregame ritual? You take a nap? You listen to a certain soundtrack? What's Justin doing before that big game?
If it's a game that's like, I mean, it depends on the game. Like if
the game that matters, man. The game that matters.
The game that matters. Shoot, So I have this movie. I watched 300, the Spartan movie. Watch that.
Okay.
I try to watch it once that week, and then I have like my go-to like 2 or 3 motivational videos. I've been listening to those since I was like 6 years old. Like my dad would, like on game days, he would wake me up to that. Like he would come in my room, put it next to my ear, and like play it until I woke up.
Me and your dad have something in common with our children.
You got to get on some Jocko Willink. Do you listen to Jocko Willink?
There you go.
That'll fun.
That's just a game of inches speech. That's a good one too.
I know.
For the wake up in the morning. All right, your turn, I guess. But you got a couple more. Are you good?
I got a bunch.
Go.
Let's see. I'm trying to decide where I want to go.
A couple more real quick.
Let's see. This is a good. You can deep dive this one, or it can get personal. Dinner. You're gonna have dinner with 3 other people, alive or dead. Who you gonna have dinner with and why? Typical icebreaker question.
Jesus, obviously. That's obvious. First one. Oh man. Second one would probably be Jesus. Probably just a bunch of biblical characters. Muhammad. I wanted to have dinner with Muhammad.
We'll take
And then the last one would probably be a wild card. Probably like a guy like maybe Buddha, a guy like Buddha, or maybe Abraham, David.
I
That
like
could be
it.
anybody. Yeah.
I like it. Getting on that spiritual kick. I'll take it. Pizza guy or a burger guy?
Burgers.
Burger? Can you build a burger? What do you put on that burger?
Bacon.
There you
As long
go.
as there's bacon and the beef and cheese, I mean, everything else don't really matter.
Can't go wrong after that.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you getting it from?
Oof.
Uh-oh. Let's
Taco
start a
Bell.
war in here.
Where?
Taco Bell.
Have you been? How
There you
far
go.
east have you been in East? Have you ever had a Powell's burger?
Nah.
I'm on a Cookout kick though, man. The new house right down the road from Cookout. I'm digging it. I like it. I like the Cookout burger. Anyway,
You like the Cookout burger?
You don't like it?
Yeah, burger.
Gosh.
Coleslaw? It's weird. It's weird, man. Change that mustard to mayo though.
Can't do it. Cookout fancy.
Oh God.
Look, the only reason I eat a Cookout is because I don't got no money. That's the only reason I go there. I can't do Cookout.
I don't have any money either because my house is freaking money pit. that's another story. That'll be tomorrow's theme on Thursday night, NCAA night. We'll be playing some NCAA football. Come hang out. We'll talk about it. This is gonna make me and Coach Jay feel really old. Childhood crush.
Oh, probably.
What'd you say?
Oh, I just said probably going to make us feel really old. That's what I was saying.
Probably Megan Fox from the Transformers movies.
There you go.
I think that's one we can meet in the middle on.
Yeah.
Coach Jay, wait, Coach Jay, childhood crush, Coach Jay.
I'm going Kathy Ireland, Necessary Roughness years.
God, that's hard to argue, man.
That's
hard to argue.
I'm
That's
just saying, man. I'm just saying.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not
All
mad
right,
at that.
all right.
All right. Tie a big fat bow on this thing, Coach Jay. Give us one last rapid fire question. We'll get Justin out the door.
Let's do this one. If all the superheroes in the world were fighting to the death, who would be the last one standing?
Man, that's.
I know. Got me too the other day.
Man. Probably Iron Man.
I'll take Iron Man. There you go.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what was the exact question again?
If all the superheroes in the world got in like a Royal Rumble to the death, who would be the last one standing?
Excuse me? Iron Man?
I'm good with Iron Man. He's resourceful,
Do
man.
they get prep time?
Prep time.
Yeah, they get prep time. They get prep time.
Hold on. If they get
They get prep time.
It's going to come down between Iron Man and Batman. That's easy.
Yeah. I'll
That's
take
easy.
it.
Yeah.
Batman always with prep time. You
Yeah.
can never go wrong with Batman.
Yeah,
Never go
no,
wrong
That
with
utility
Batman.
belt.
Dylan's having a rough night. Dylan drops another $5 super chat and he says he's got to recover from the horrible dad joke question. And so then he asks the same question that I just asked. If you could have dinner with anybody on earth, past or present, who would it be and why? Like, you got to go back and get the answer. Shout out to Dylan. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Justin, man, as much as I would love to sit here and hammer you with random questions, I love it, man. I love having a good time. I think you guys enjoy it more than you enjoy talking about recruiting and visits and all that nonsense. So we appreciate you coming on, man. We're glad to have you as part of the family. We're excited about your future on Rocky Top. I say it all the time to any commit or recruit that comes on. You need something from me and Coach Jay, you hit us up. We're here from you. You want to come back on and say, hey, man, I want to come hang out with you guys. Y'all are idiots, and I enjoyed it. But anything you want to say on the way out the door to Vol Nation, there are going to be a lot of people watching this replay. So anything you want to say to them on the way out the door?
I mean, can't wait to get up there. Sure. Ready to work, you know. I'm the kind of guy that's not gonna stop. Just ready to work, you know. So GBO.
Go Big Orange.
I'm just ready to get up to Tennessee. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be coming up in January. So
okay,
go.
Good.
Yep.
Love to hear it, man. Appreciate you coming on. Like I said, everybody go give him a follow. The links are in the description below. Appreciate you coming on, Justin. We'll catch up soon, buddy. You have a good night, and we'll talk soon.
Take care.
Of course. All right.
All right. Later, brother.
All right, take care.
Oh, man, I love dragging them through the mud. Man, you hit him with a
Oh,
good
yeah.
one. Some bangers. I feel like our questions are getting better as well.
Very
I do want to give a
ballsy.
shout out to Memphis Ball for becoming a member of the channel while we were in the middle of that. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. You guys can do the same. Hit that join button, man. Don't wait. It's $1. That's $1 a month. We appreciate the support. Gives us the opportunity to create as much content as possible. Let's get this clown on here. Coach Rice.
Oh,
What's
Child-
up,
Childhood crush. Who is it?
man? Megan Fox is that's hard to.
That's
pass
not
up.
your childhood. That's not your
Hey.
childhood. She was a child.
All right, Jennifer Aniston. It's Jennifer Aniston.
we'll take it. We'll take it.
She got a great
I
personality.
thought her on Friends. Goodness gracious, and all these movies she's in. Just goodness gracious.
She had her own haircut.
She does. She does. have her own hair.
That scene in We're the Millers where she.
Oh my gosh. Coach Rice is coming out fired on all cylinders. Let's just shut it down and let's talk about Tennessee recruiting. We got some work to do, boys. I mentioned childhood crushes, and all of a sudden we're talking about We Are the Millers, and we're talking about stripping and stripper poles. You guys do us a favor real quick. We got a couple of hundred people watching live. Hit the thumbs up. That's quick, free, and easy. Helps the channel. Hit share, man. Put eyes on this. I challenged you guys last week for Anthony's interview. You guys blasted it out. That clip that we posted on Twitter has over 11,000 views. 11,000 people have seen that story that his mom told about Josh Heupel and this coaching staff. That's where it's at. You guys are the heartbeat of this channel. So hit that share button. We would appreciate it. You can go check out the Talkin VAWLS merch, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is also in the description below. We appreciate any and all support. If you're repping Talkin VAWLS merch, tag me on Twitter. Let me know. I want to see it. Tag me at Boogie Bentley. We'll retweet it. We'll talk about it. We'll promote it. We need you guys. It's an election year. By the way, I don't know if you realize this. If you follow Rocky Top Tom, it's all he talks about is politics. But you can go pick up the Boogie Dauber 24 for the fans, by the fans. All of it is at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Let's talk a little recruiting. Let's talk a little Farrah Fawcett. I got distracted again. Let's talk a little recruiting. We're coming off the weekend of 865 Live. And then something else that I want to talk about tonight is the On3 event that's going on right now. On3 Elite Series event. Travis Smith is there. Caleb Cunningham's there. Jamie French, David Sanders, George McIntyre. A lot of good content's coming out from the On3 Recruits channel, from VolQuest, all kinds of fun stuff. But let's just jump right in. Coach Rice, let's talk about the main event. We all know what the main event is. It's David Sanders. So let's throw it up there. How did you feel coming out of 865 Live, and then the stuff that's coming out, from the On3 Elite Series event? How you feeling about David Sanders right now?
I think he's a ball, y'all. That dude, I think he's going to take his trips, and he'll weigh his options and pray and get with the family and make a final decision that's best for him. But I think if he wanted to pick right now, he's a ball. And I think his connection with G-Mac's real big. I think he loves Glenn Ellerby, Josh Heupel, what Tennessee could give him opportunity-wise. NIL, that's something that I feel like is not something majorly up front for this kid, but yes, he's going to get paid NIL wise. But I think that's one of those third, fourth thoughts when it comes to this kid. I think he's mainly worried about relationships getting developed and just the chemistry between him and the coaches and the players and the rest of the guys in the recruiting class. And he's real connected to G-Mac, and I don't know if y'all saw it. Nick Moore posted a tweet today, and I know we'll get to him, but he tagged David Sanders in it. So I can't wait. I think David Sanders is without a doubt evolved, especially if I'm calling it right now.
Coach Jay, does that make you feel like Nick Moore is a guy that's I've also gotten my notes tonight to talk about because Tennessee was kind of late on him, right? And I don't know if it was evaluations. They were targeting other guys. I don't know if it was Petty and Gaston and then it didn't work out, so they go after Nick Moore. But when you offer that late, you feel like you're kind of behind the 8 ball, right? Maybe you're a little behind.
Sure.
But then you hear that Nick Moore hits it off with David Sanders, and AP's put it out there that they are so like-minded, and they like. Is it good news that David Sanders and Nick Moore have a good relationship, meaning that we land Nick Moore, or because it means that we land David Sanders? Because I'm leaning into it. I'm kind of with Coach Rice. I think right now David Sanders is trending to Tennessee, and we're about to land Nick Moore because David Sanders is about to be a Vol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I mean, I think they work a little bit in synergy together, but yeah, I think it certainly helps you get over the hump with not being on the early offer for him. But as many are pointing out, he looks like a kid who could play center. You know, he's got good quick hands inside. He's got that low mass center of gravity. I know on here the other week I said I thought Ant could do it too, and I think Big Ant could do that as well. So to bring in some options makes me really happy. I think a lot of people on here mentioning Matthews as well. I think we get Jalen Matthews, and if you give me Nick Moore, Jalen Matthews, Big Ant, and David Sanders, I mean, I'll take that right there every day of the week and twice on Sunday, and anything on top of that volunteer cake is just icing, of course. So I like where the Vols sit with them right now. I don't know if all y'all caught the On3 interview with David Sanders as well from that event, and the subsequent interview by George McIntyre at that event as well. But I certainly like where Tennessee sits, and if I'd seen it right, I believe the way he's positioned is Tennessee has the second to last official visit, with the last being Alabama, which I don't consider to be kind of in his top. So if
for
that,
David Sanders,
is
are we talking about
Ohio,
or my
Ohio
backwards on
State's
that?
last.
Oh, State has the last visit. Okay,
Alabama is one of those
backwards.
weird midweek visits. He's at
Yeah.
Tennessee on the
Okay.
14th, Alabama the 18th midweek, and then Ohio State on June 21st.
Okay, maybe I just saw the order, not the dates. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, either way, you got to like Tennessee, especially if he hasn't committed to Clemson by that point. I think Ohio State's going to be tough to ward off at the end, but I think Tennessee's in good pace to do it. I think we got the best quarterback of the group and the better feel for David overall.
I think without a doubt it's going to be us and Ohio State battle. I think.
Yeah, that I agree with.
I mean, Clemson and Alabama and Georgia will all throw, their head into the circle, but I don't think. I really do think that Tennessee and Ohio State are the two favorites, and it'll be a battle between them two coming down to the old official visits.
I don't think he likes the game that Clemson plays, where they have the one big official visit weekend, and then they're going to shut you down. I don't think that's what him and his family are all about. But, to me, it's the George relationship. And I've got a clip, what Coach Jay was talking about from the On3 recruits video. I got a little clip I want to play from that. But he talks about George and the peer recruiting and how they had – I've been saying this for weeks, man, how they've been going on so many visits. It's not about Tennessee. It's about playing together. He said Alabama, Clemson, Tennessee. It's about us playing together, not about playing at Tennessee, not about playing at Alabama or Clemson, about playing together. And I did think it was funny. Like, I'm not going to play anything from the George interview, but if you listen to it, they asked him about David Sanders, and he was like, I think he was at South Carolina and Nebraska. And then he laughs. He was like, boy, those are some weird visits. like he's like, those they're not even in the equation. But David Sanders does have a decision coming early August. Let's play this clip. I want you guys to hear it, and we'll pause it, provide commentary, because that's what fair use is all about. On3, don't flag me, because we are going to provide commentary, and we are going to take advantage of the fair use laws in the United States of America. So please don't think about copyright striking me, because I don't want to have to come back at you. Let's take a listen.
What visits are you really looking forward to? Tennessee, Georgia.
Wait, what did he say, Coach Russ? Who was the first name out of his mouth? What official visits are you looking forward to? What was the first name?
Tennessee.
Tennessee's the first
Coming
name
off
out.
of the unofficial, Tennessee's the first one, baby.
All right, let's hear more.
Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Those would be, I think everybody right now is just so even. Like, everybody's done such a great job with recruiting me thus far. It's hard to say this school doesn't have a chance. Like, everybody has a chance to land me. It's just how we're going to feel after June into July, and then when it's time to make that decision in August.
Yeah, a lot of great recruiters involved now.
Yeah,
they know how to sell a program.
Oh, no doubt.
But does anybody sell a program better than George McIntyre?
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Let me rewind it. Let me rewind just a couple of seconds.
Anybody sell a program better than George McIntyre?
I see Dylan in the chat says got a great relationship with St. Clair at Ohio State. You see that big pearly grin right there? You see that reaction when he's asked about George McIntyre? Let's hear more.
No, I would say he's probably been him and Tavion Sinclair, the quarterback that's committed to Ohio State. Those two guys have been on me more than some of the coaches have, to be honest. Like they do a good job just saying, like, building that relationship. Me and George had a relationship before he committed to Tennessee, so it was pretty easy for him to switch it over to come to Tennessee, come block for me, because we used to play the game and stuff together all the time. So it was pretty cool when he committed. Just being proud of him as a friend. And Tavion, I met him more recently when I went to that Ohio State visit over the spring, but he's been very down to earth and just getting to know me and me getting to know him. So I look forward to building that relationship with him. But him and George do a phenomenal job.
Coach Shady, you see a difference there? He has a relationship with George. He's trying to build a relationship with St. Clair.
Yeah, it does. It's just a little bit deeper, right? So, and we've talked to so many of these kids now, right? And you see how important these relationships are, whether they be with coaches, whether they be with, fellow student athletes that might be with the team already or within their class. But I can guarantee you these elite offensive linemen, they want to block for good quarterbacks. And I know one thing else that he mentioned, I don't know if you've got the soundbite in there or not, Boogie, but he talks about, he'd be willing to move around anywhere if he needed to start early inside the guard. He talks about, and he kind of talks about, I'll play wherever I have to play to block for Nico. So it lets you know that's in his mind. That's something, he views as possible. And he talks about how, at Tennessee, you're always going to have that great quarterback under Josh Heupel and that effective quarterback. I don't know that necessarily Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, whoever can necessarily offer that right now. They might have that good kid in that class, but it just seems like Tennessee, even when they're dealt a less desirable hand, like in a Joe Milton, the offense is still going to put up points and do its thing, right? And right now, Tennessee's sitting on a nice looking whip at quarterback, no matter who you put there.
It's interesting you mentioned that he brought up, I'm willing to do whatever to play with Nico, right? And I'm bearing the lead here because it's something I got penciled in to talk about a little bit later at wide receiver recruiting. But Travis Smith, 4-star wide receiver, he's a top 100 guy. I'm just going to hold that comment back. What he said was it would be a dream come true to come catch balls from Nico because they were saying, AP asked him specifically, everybody wants to play as a freshman. What do you think about playing as a freshman? And he basically said, Josh Heupel's always going to have a quarterback. Period, hands down, no questions asked. And he said, as a freshman, I would love to come catch balls from Nico and then knowing that I'm going to be catching balls from George or Jake after that. So I think that is very interesting. Let's hear a little bit more from David Sanders. We'll continue to dive into the On3 recruiting event as well as 865 Live. But wide receiver recruiting coming up here in just a second.
That peer-to-peer recruiting be just as effective as hearing it from a coach?
I feel like that's more important than sometimes what the coaches are saying, because these are the guys you're going to be in the locker room with every day. And then, these are guys you're going to be surrounded with on game day visits throughout the day. Like during the spring when y'all don't have practice, George is going to be one of the guys I'm hanging out with. So I feel comfortable with him being one of my friends, and do I trust him and things like that. So I feel like, and as your quarterback, that's what I'm going to be blocking for. Like, do I want to block for this guy? Does he seem like a good guy I want to do that for? So I would say the peer-to-peer recruiting is sometimes bigger than what the coaches have to say.
So the fans have been following your recruitment. So when can they expect to hear a decision from you?
I would say
So that's where he goes kind of into the decision again. He's going to take all of his official visits. He's going to sit down with his family. He's going to pray about it, think about it, talk about it. He wants to come off the board late July, early August before his senior season. Any you want to tie a big fat bow on David Sanders for us, Coach Rice, and we'll kind of move into the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I'm going to ask my coworker over.
What's he think?
Partner,
what does he
partner
think?
in crime over here.
I mean, look at that. He stands with better posture than you do.
Right? I mean, he's all for David Sanders. I'll tell you that. David Sanders, I think, like I said, is a lock. You're talking about a well-mannered, very well-spoken young kid. His parents and his, bring up was very well done. He's can't ask him any question he won't answer. So he's very, very mature in his age. So that's another aspect of what you see in these guys that Coach Heupel's bringing in. And that's another aspect that I love with Coach Heupel's recruiting. And so David Sanders, I saw someone posted about it just a second ago. I think he's the rock to this class. I mean, we all know GMAC, how important he is, but we've talked about it several times on this channel. You land David Sanders, you feel really, really, really good about this class. And I like the spot we're in.
I feel like we got breaking news going on in the chat, but I'm looking at Twitter and I don't see it.
What are they talking about?
No, I don't see it. This is what I wanted to talk about, and then we'll address what somebody is saying in the chat. Talking about wide receiver recruiting, Jamie French, 5-star wide receiver, another guy that's got a great relationship with George, another guy that was he's at the On3 event. He was at 865 Live. He put out Texas #1, LSU #2, Miami #3. This kind of set Rocky Tom off the rails. And I was like, bro, I've been saying this for 2 weeks. Like, he put it out. These are his top 3. Tennessee's got some work to do here. Somebody in the chat here, Blackout Jones says, notice Jamie French added Tennessee to his list a day after he had only had 3 teams on his list today. I didn't see that. I don't see that. If you've got a link, Blackout Jones, DM me on Twitter, because this is the last that I saw, is that Texas, LSU, Miami. For me, it just seems like everything that I read, everything that I see is that Texas is the team to beat. That's where he's ultimately going to end up. I've always kind of felt like it was a long shot. I felt like you're kind of playing that George McIntyre relationship. You keep getting him back on campus, though, and you're going to get him back for an official visit. Shoot your shot, right? Swing for the fences and see what happens. But the question I wanted to ask you guys is, where do you go at wide receiver from here? Because Jamie French seems like a long shot. You've got Radarius Jackson. You've got Joakim Dotson in the boat. Derek Meadows, the staff canceled his visit. I think I saw where he dropped his top 5 today. Obviously, Tennessee's not in it. Cameron Sparks, for whatever reason, staff's not doing anything there. He is not a take at Tennessee. So then you kind of start to look at the board and see where Tennessee's going. And again, like I just mentioned, Travis Smith, and I think he becomes priority #1 for me. And when you look at his profile, he's a top 100 guy. I loved his interview. I think it was with VolQuest. I think he sat down with VolQuest. Yeah. Loved his interview. He's going to be committing on July the 13th. Again, we talk about peer recruiting. George McIntyre recruiting David Sanders. Guess who's together at the On3 event right now? George McIntyre and Travis Smith. Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, but everything I've seen says it's Georgia and Tennessee. Can you get him out of the state of Georgia? He's a Georgia kid. He talked about that. He's like, I'm surrounded by Georgia fans, a little bit of Tennessee fans, going to visit Tennessee officially in June. He's the guy that I mentioned earlier that said it would be a dream to catch passes from Nico and get an opportunity as a freshman. Coach Rice, what do you think about wide receiver recruiting and where Travis Smith is at with Tennessee?
Well, I like Travis Smith where we are with him right now. It is between us and Georgia. You might as well put the other 2 teams behind. I really think it's going to come down to us 2. And then Marcus Harris will be the 2 guys that I see as the most realistic gets. I think that Travis Smith be an outside guy. Marcus Harris will be your slot guy that you get the last 2. Caleb Cunningham, I think, has got Mississippi State written all over it, either there or Alabama. And then we had just talked about Jamie French. I would love to have him. I think he's the most explosive wide receiver in the class. But I do think he's going to Texas. Between all three of those top tier wide receivers, I think the guy that just decommitted from LSU, I think he's going to end up at Texas as well. But Travis Smith and Marcus Harris are the two guys that I see as the most realistic. The two guys I hear the most about. They're both coming in for OVs. Marcus Harris, he's going on and on about how much he loves Knoxville and his relationship with GMAC. That relationship's there. And we just got through talking about Travis Smith. He's your prototypical outside guy. Rangy, very has a very big catch radius. Someone that you Cedric Tillman-esque, maybe with a little more top end speed. A guy that I would love to see in this class. So if I had to say two guys, it'd be those two guys that I see Tennessee going in the wide receiver way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Marcus Harris, I think is a very real, target for Tennessee. I know he is very high on Tennessee with his relationship with GMAC, and then of course there's a little bit of a pipeline that's been created, and I know it's a quiet one, but I've talked about it on here a couple times with Modern Day out in Santa Ana, and that's a powerhouse. Year after year, top 10 school, high school in the country, great school for football. And of course, Brew McCoy went to Modern Day, and a couple other players that we've been hot on and haven't pulled the one in yet. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Marcus Harris there, especially if French does end up at Texas. Yeah, absolutely. As far as Travis Smith goes, I mean, I think we got a good opportunity at him. I mean, who's his quarterback going to be? From what I see, the number one quarterback in the state of Georgia, Juju Lewis, is a USC Trojan as of now, and I don't see that going to change at all. So, with the number one quarterback, perhaps in the class or in the state of Georgia, moving on out of state, I think it opens you up for some of the top wide receiver talent in state. Unfortunately for Retro.
Well, I do, and I want to add one more thing. But with French and Decoria Moore and Sierra White, did I get that name right? The other top wide receiver, I can't remember. The guy you covered in the film breakdown, I can't remember what his name was, but they're all three favored for Texas. So if them three go to Texas, I know we saw on the On3 recruiting machine that Marcus Harris had which I don't go
about Lockett, the kid I did use in our library. Yeah. So the interesting thing about Lockett, and I know I said it tongue in cheek at the time, and yeah, I was kind of shoplifting a 5-star at the time, guilty as charged. But what
Still
I did
retained
say,
this championship. What a
yeah. But I will stick with this. There are other top 5 star wide receivers that look like Texas leans right now in that state, right? That are going to be going there. And he has a late commitment. He's already announced he's going to commit late. And if Tennessee's offense takes off how I think, that's what I meant by the pull, right? Because I think Nico is going to have great gravity, and what Tennessee does on the field is going to bring great gravity to this program. And I think, as much as I like Harris and as much as I like Smith, I do think we are going to get a pull from some more top tier talent as this season goes along. And remember, recruiting doesn't end until that signing day, guys. That ink day matters.
Yeah, especially if you go out, if Nico goes out and does what we think he can do, then you're going to see it's going to change, man. You're going to see some decommitments, and that's why it's so big. You're in on some of these guys, and I know recruiting's changed, right? It's all about the summer. It's all about the June officials, July, August decisions. But like Coach Jay said, nothing matters till you get to signing day. So let's shift gears here a little bit. Who do I want to talk about? We'll briefly mention Shady Hayward. I don't really know how much you even need to say about Shady Hayward. He's a guy that, I mean, he was in town for A65 Live, and they asked him about his trip, and he's like, I'm really just here to recruit for Tennessee. That's what Shady Hayward had to say. So I think he's a Vol. I think he's been a Vol. I think he loves Tennessee. And I also think I think that he loves violence. I think that he loves violence. He's a guy that I'm excited about. But that was his comments coming out of the visit was, I'm just here to recruit for Tennessee. Well, is there any conversation to be had here?
He's a Vol. He's a guy that he's Coach J's guy, man. Loves violence. Someone that you see coming down from the safety position, putting a hammer on some running backs, trying to get in the hole, hammering a wide receiver coming across the middle. Just a guy you want to see in the back end, whether it be, there's some guys say there's a chance at conversion to linebacker. I want to speed in his violence back at that safety position, coming downhill, coming off the edge, and what we saw, what's his name, Tamarian McDonald do a couple times when he was healthy a couple years ago, where he was really coming off that edge as a safety blitz, and so that's my take on Lagonza. I think or Shady. I think he's a Vol.
Yeah, 6'1", 196. Coach Jay, you're going to build a prototypical linebacker, and Shady can gain weight. What do you want that weight to be if he's going to make that move from safety to linebacker? What do you think his game fits?
I mean, of course, it matters, what linebacker your position you're playing, right? Like I want my mics to weigh a little bit more than my wills, and you can keep stretching that out with height and weight as you kind of hit to your outside guys, right? You kind of want that blend for those outside guys, your Leos. James Pierce is a great example of what you want in a Leo, is starting to be that true hybrid, that defensive end length, but that outside linebacker weight. But Shady, you could see him playing the star position. He's smart enough to play in the backfield. One thing we talked about during his breakdown, if you guys missed it, go watch it. My main note for him was he's devious. The man sets traps on the football field like a boxer or a fighter with a high IQ.
My favorite thing ever is Coach Jay asking a question to Shady Hayward in our film breakdown.
That was the best.
And then Shady DMing me and saying, "Tell Coach Jay I definitely set a trap there. That's 100% what I was doing."
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. But he set the traps, and I'll tell you, and I'm really high on like a guy like Marcus Gorey, who's already on campus. And if you can stick another guy like Shady Hayward in that backfield, and in that DB/linebacker group, you've got two extremely smart guys back there, and then you sprinkle in someone with Boo Carter with special talent. I mean, we're starting to cook with some true gas right there in that backfield. And I think he did a great job recruiting for us. I do think he's a Vol, and I think all those recruits were talking extremely well about Tennessee during that 865 event, because if not, Shady would hit them in front of their families. He told us all he likes to hit people in front of their families. So he was keeping everyone in check, and I'm excited about this kid. And God willing, and the creek don't rise, he'll pull the trigger here shortly.
Like, it's kind of a tie.
Okay, yeah,
yeah. Because when you hit somebody, like the feeling of knowing you hit them in front of their family, and then you just lay them out, you just be like, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah, I love that.
Favorite clips.
Oh
ever.
yeah.
Dylan wants to drive the show. Dylan's like, "Hey, I'm the producer. I'm in charge around here. Boogie, let's change the subject. Let's talk about edge rushers." Well, I'm glad you said that, Dylan, because guess what I want to talk about? I want to talk about edge rushers. And this is another guy that Coach Jay brought to the table for a live film breakdown challenge, and that's Jared Smith. He's a 4-star across the board, 5-star over at 247 Sports. But he's the guy that was in town. And coming out of 865 Live, the quote that I ran with, and I made a video on Jared Smith, he said, "The Vols are way higher on my list than people think." He's been in town twice since 2022, made 2 trips to Knoxville last year. Most recently, he was in town for the Texas A&M game in October. This is from 247 Sports, said he's already set to return to Tennessee on an official visit the weekend of June the 14th, and then he comes in town for 865 Live, and that's where the quote comes out, Vols way higher on my list than people think. He loves Rodney Garner. He loves the development. Something that a lot of these edge rushers are talking about is the body of work, right? Rodney Garner, it's like we talked about earlier with Justin Baker. Who's the first Vols that come to mind? Well, guess what? If you're talking about defensive line and you're talking about Rodney Garner, you can point to immediate Byron Young, James Pierce. People talking about a number 1 draft pick in James Pierce. Jordan Ross, you're on deck. And now Jared Smith. I love his length, and that's why I was kind of basically forced Coach Jay into it. But no, he made his own decision. I just love the length, man. 6'6", 235. What do you think of those comments, Coach Jay? What do you think? You've talked about his game, but you can talk a little bit more about his game. And does Tennessee have a realistic shot here? Never say never with Coach G.
Never say never. Look, I think we've all been through that. I love this kid. I used him in the live series, another live breakdown series kid that I used against Rocky Top Tom and paired him against Gaston Moore because I knew Tom would go in hard with a really violent, good player, and Jared Smith kind of fit that mold, of a special defensive end, as someone that could come in and be a potential number 1 first round, top 3 pick in an NFL draft. This kid has special size. He's got special speed. Just a strong kid. He's got room to grow into his body. I don't know if this recruiting prediction machine is to be believed. Do we all know how good deep he is in with South Carolina?
I mean, they're definitely the leader at this point, but
okay.
I think once you get him on for an official visit, and anything could change. I did see where he may be one of the later, like around September decisions. I have seen that on a couple websites. So, going on with what you're saying,
He's got officials at South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Florida State, USC, and then obviously, of course,
right. But you got to love how he said, Tennessee is higher on the list than people realize. And like you said, look, Coach G, he's not for everyone, guys, right? So Jared's going to have to ask himself, does he want to put in that work, or does he want to go pretend to be a Mason and build things brick by brick at South Carolina, or maybe make some NIL at Ole Miss? But if he wants to come and play in the NFL, he needs to go the hard route. He needs to go the ironborn way and kind of go through Coach G and put that work in, because right now I don't think there's any coach out there developing DNs better than Coach G, right? I mean the proof is in the poison. So easily the best Leo group in the country since Coach G has been here, and that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon with the guys sitting behind Mr. Pierce right now. They're 2 or 3 deep right now. So,
I think without a doubt, real quick, Boogie, real quick, that I think you have 4 or 5 sack season from Jordan Ross. Look out, because that's just telling you he came in this summer. He's coming in fresh, and Coach G's already making this dude's already making an impact on Jordan Ross that quick. What can he do with me? And so James Pierce get his 15 to 18 sacks. Caleb Herring get a couple sacks. Joshua Josephs get a few sacks. The list is going on and on and on of NFL ready guys that Coach Gardner's getting ready. Does Jared Smith want to be that next guy?
Good Lord, just look at the depth that you just rattled off.
Yeah.
James Pierce, Joshua Josephs, Caleb Herring, Jordan Ross. Like, are you kidding me? The depth is there. I wanted Coach Rice. I wanted to ask you about another guy that we're looking to flip. We're looking to flip Isaiah Gibson, currently committed to USC. Nobody thinks that's going to stick. They think it's going to be Tennessee or Georgia. He wanted to make it in town. People are like, oh, he didn't come to town. He doesn't care. He wanted to make it in town for the 865 Live, but he couldn't. Couldn't make it in town, but he was at the On3 event, and VolQuest caught up with him, listened to his comments. He loves himself some Tennessee, man, and it's the same. Like, you hear him, you hear Jared Smith, you hear these other edge rushers. It's the same song and dance. It's about Coach Garner. I think this may be similar to what Coach Jay was saying earlier. Like, maybe you don't win it initially. Maybe he does commit to Georgia. You're going to have a shot down the stretch. If Nico is him and you go out and win 10 games, you have a college football playoff appearance, guess what? Things are going to change when we get closer to we may actually enjoy December this year, boys. We may enjoy signing day this year. I always say I want to do a live stream all day covering signing day. And every year it's like, oh, it's kind of boring. But do you think Coach Rice, Tennessee has a shot to flip Isaiah Gibson?
We got to get him on campus. And I think he's got a OV set up. I think he changed his OV from it was Florida to us, which is massive. I mean, I love hearing the fact that we're still in OVs from Florida. And, it shows that, hey, maybe I need to go. He's right down the road. He said tons and tons of times that he wants to get to Knoxville. Just conflicts have came into play. But he's a guy that you get him on campus. I could see him be that Leo / 5 technique position. I could see him being kind of like that, put some body weight on him. He's a guy that I think as long as we can get him on campus, like I just said, we got a chance. If we don't get him on campus, I think it's unrealistic to see that, but you never count out with Coach G. You can't count him out. This dude does have elite speed from the Leo position or rush position. It's a guy that plays in a big time program down there at Warner Robins. That's high A football down in Georgia. So he's playing good competition already. So it's another winner, a guy that you would love to have in the program to go along with the elite defensive lineman that we already have established.
Yeah, I mean, don't count USC out. He did enjoy his time out on the yacht. He was looking at.
Hold on a second, Coach Rice. Do I need to kick him off the show? Anytime he has a chance to recruit for USC, he starts recruiting for USC.
Coach Jay, I'm disappointed, man.
I am.
I'm sorry.
I'm disappointed.
I'll go sit in the corner. Where's my dunce hat? Make
Where's
me a
your
little
world
dunce
championship?
hat.
Where's your world championship at?
It's over there right now.
I
had. Well, I was going to build a new studio, and then I had my I had to get my roof redone, so it kind of threw everything off. But it will be full in effect soon. I'll have to put my dunce hat on.
Don't
here.
get me started on the house. That's gonna be the entire stream tomorrow. That's me complaining about my house. Go ahead, Coach. Sorry, we got derailed.
And listen, let me ask you this real quick, Coach Rice, before I go on about him. Do you see him projecting on the inside or on that weak side defensive end?
Weak side defensive end.
That weak side defensive end.
Yeah.
So he's going to be coming in. Once again, how bad do you want it in Coach G's system? I mean, we just talked about the other side. We got a kid that's blossoming in Jason Jenkins right now that had an opportunity to transfer out because he's been playing so well. A big kid, prototypical kid that's right there. It's been well documented what kind of player Tyree Weathersby is. Caught a little bit of a bad break. And of course, we all saw what Tyree West was in that Iowa game against real deal competition on that. I was tackle at that position wasn't the problem. Who West was going against. So yeah, Weathersby, West, and Jenkins really strong. So he can be that next guy in at that position, and the opportunity if he does put on weight to slide inside is there as well. But once again, I'll keep going back to it. It's not everyone's personalities are going to cross with Gardner, right? You're going to have your Walter Nolans out there, who don't want to go that route, but I think the proof is in the pudding, and the kids who do want to go that route will be paid in kind for their trouble.
You know, all those 5 techniques that you just listed off, you didn't even list all of them. You forgot Dominique Bailey. That's the crazy amount.
Yeah.
We have at every position on the defensive line. Jackson Moore, you could even throw at that 5 technique. I mean, it's
Hobbs.
just David Hobbs.
Another 5-star. 5-star.
I mean, yeah. It's just crazy the amount of depth, which you could slide a couple of those guys into the 3 technique, but it's just
Rodney Garner has the blueprint. That's what we need in the linebacker room, in the secondary, on the offensive line. That's when we get on here and we talk recruiting, we say stack recruiting classes, and people are like, you say that every week. Well, that's what Rodney Garner's done, and that's why Tim Banks said this is the best defensive line in the country, because they have depth. That, you know, do they have the best player in the country? Maybe, and James Pierce. But it's just the depth. The depth is what you need. That's how you compete in the SEC week in and week out. We got fun content coming your way throughout the week. June the 3rd. What is that? Is that a Monday, Coach Jay? June the 3rd. I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern time. Jalen Matthews coming off the board. Reached out to him tonight. We'll see if he responds. I want to get together with him, but I also told him I respect his decision, his privacy, his timeline, all that type of stuff. So we'll see if we can get together with Jalen Matthews. But regardless, we're going to be going live on June the 3rd, 2 p.m. Eastern time. He's set to come off the board. We'll go live around 1:15-ish. And we'll take you all the way up to that commitment, so make sure you're dialed in for that. Tomorrow night, NCAA night, and then after tomorrow night, we're going back to Tuesdays. Guess what, boys? Next Tuesday will be the last live stream ever in this empty, barren wasteland of a room. There's nothing left. Look, the Peyton Manning ball's gone. Everything's gone. It's just one big, empty room. That's what this is. So, man, next Tuesday will be a banger. It's going to be fun. The last ever Talkin VAWLS live from this room. Memphis Ball drops the $2 super chat. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the support. Guys, think about joining the channel. It helps. We appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up. That's quick, free, and easy. Share out these links. You want us to interview somebody else next week? Coach Rice is always looking for a reason to come on here and talk recruiting. You want to give him the avenue to do that. Find us somebody to interview next. Go hit up Boo Carter. Say, Boo, what are you doing on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time? Maybe you want to come on the Talkin VAWLS Network and hang out. But regardless, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Tons of content coming your way. For Coach Jay, for Coach Rice, my name's Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we charge.